This keeps it from escaping.
The gas that we're currently using to generate electricity would be emitting to the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide and methane, those are all greenhouse gas contributors.
So burning the gas off for energy is actually a positive double whammy. On the one hand, it's a naturally occurring green energy source and the actual energy production. The combustion of the gas is better for the environment than letting the gas escape.
By drawing this gas and combusting it, or burning it basically, you're destroying 98% or more of the contaminants in that gas. Versus doing nothing, where you just have random emissions of the constituents of the gas.
This doesn't mean that old dumps and landfills will be the power plants of the future. For one, the capital investment to do this is huge, and garbage only decomposes for so long.
For the longevity of an operation, it could be 20, 25 years. So it's not really a hugely profitable undertaking. It's a break even at best, at least at this facility. But just the benefits to the environment far outweigh any profit incentive.
Believe it or not, the Hidden Valley landfill has already passed its peak production years. The energy it makes from here on out will actually taper off over time. But LRI is dreaming big. This is only one of quite a few landfills they own, and they're planning on future methane gas harvesting not just for electricity, but fueling their trucks as well.
It makes a beneficial end use of a byproduct of a landfill, and again controls the emissions and helps reduce methane or greenhouse gas generation. Not only from the landfill, but by fueling our trucks on compressed natural gas, we obviously reduce the need for hydrocarbon fuel, oil, diesel, and also reduce the emissions those vehicles produce.
Who would have thunk that our garbage would someday be giving back? I'm Kelly Gunther for Seattle City Light. If you want to be really green and earn some green as well, this story is for you. Connie McDougall tells us that the utility will actually haul away.
The blackberries also provide a seed source for plants to grow on the substation gravel floor. Plant control inside the substation is critical because plants can conduct electricity and endanger workers. Having a herd of goats in the middle of an urban neighborhood was pretty unusual, and there were many curious and interested neighbors watching the goats' progress in munching through the thicket. In fact, the neighbors met with Searing a month before the herd went to work and embraced the concept, even holding a block party the day the goats arrived. Whether City Light will use the herd in the future is up in the air.
I don't think it's moving as quickly as I thought it would. This is experimental. This is new. And so we're going to give it a try. We'll probably have them come back again next spring and do some more.
In the meantime, the goats did finish the main goal of this visit, finding the fence that has been hidden for so long. City Light crews now can get up the slope safely and be able to finish clearing the area closest to the adjacent property. Peter Clark reporting for Seattle City Light.
Seattle City Light is an electric utility. So why do we encourage people to conserve? To use electricity more efficiently. Because wise energy use saves money, creates jobs, and protects the environment. City Light is Seattle's citizen-owned utility. Our customers are our shareholders, and they expect City Light to do the smart thing, the right thing, and that's conservation. Seattle City Light Conservation. Value for our customers, good for our community.
Well, that's all we have for you in this program. Be sure to visit the Seattle Channel's Video On Demand website and type in LIGHT, that's L-I-G-H-T, into the search engine. There are over 30 videos on Seattle City Light's operations, governance, and even conservation programs. I'm Kelly Gunther for your Seattle City Light. That old fridge lurking in your basement and pay you to boot.
Warning! Those old refrigerators hooked up in garages and basements are environmental time bombs. But relax, Seattle City Light is working to defuse them. Here's some background. Old refrigerators contain internationally banned substances called CFCs. In addition, they may contain mercury and PCBs in their mechanical works, not something to cart off to the dump. Plus, 98% of the materials in an old fridge can be recycled and reused.
There's tin, there's steel, there's plastic, there's glass.
And even copper can be found in the older coolers. Chuck Newcomb heads up Jayco Environmental's local refrigerator recycling facility. City Light has teamed up with Jayco to safely recycle old working refrigerators. The company will pick up the appliance, even if it's in the basement, and haul it to their recycling facility.
And what we do is we come in instantly and we pull all the these are all aluminum. And we pull all these out, all the plastic bins come out, all the glass shelves and plastic shelves all come out.
Jayco has developed a process that captures harmful Freon, the refrigerant that's blamed for depleting the ozone layer. This device literally picks up the bulky appliance and tilts it so the fluids can be sucked out with a vacuum.
The Freon itself gets, after we evacuate it, is into a big tank, and the tank gets sent then to have it destroyed, actually, or a portion of it properly recycled.
Freon, chemically named chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, were banned in 1987 by an international treaty. In addition, it's recognized that CFCs contribute to global warming and are thousands of times more potent than CO2. But the refrigerant fluid isn't the only problem. There is an average of 10 pounds of CFC-laced foam insulation in the refrigerators. This will also eventually be released into the atmosphere if not properly disposed of. Jayco bags this material up and trucks it off to an EPA-sanctioned incineration plant. If you're a City Light customer and have one of these old working refrigerators, here's what you should do. Call Jayco at 1-877-577.
It had a sort of electric quality, or has a kind of electric quality to it. And over that, I laid flowers.
The flowers, she says, are a direct reference to the Northwest and the variety of flowers that grow in this mild climate. These hatch covers came from line drawings. They were scanned and then routed out to create three-dimensional casts. Barbara Earl Thomas drew this pencil drawing to create a cover called Raven Shouts Water.
I have been recently, in the last 2 years, using the shape of a raven in my work.
Thomas drew a detailed line drawing and then had to simplify that drawing to make it work for the cast.
I really, literally had to edit my drawing in order to make it work for this process.
And she came away with a beautiful three-dimensional relief.
I like the idea of people walking over something and just sort of, coming up on something in a surprise. It's useful, but it's also beautiful.
The third and final design is the water ring, designed by Betsy Best Spadaro for Seattle Public Utilities.
I immediately started looking for other historical pieces of art that dealt with the round shape, and looked at Greek vases and bowls and things like that.
The hatch cover took on the qualities of a Greek vase, and several themes were created.
The primary theme is the idea that we all living creatures need clean water, and that is represented by the humans swimming with the marine life. And then the secondary theme is the water cycle, and the design of the hatch cover takes the water cycle from the atmosphere,
which is represented by rain as an outer ring. The water travels through the environment and into our communities and is represented as the wave ring the fish and humans swim through. It then goes back to the sea through drains, which is the center ring.
Each marine creature represents a different body of water. The whale represents the ocean, and the orcas
They help out, but not as much as the crews. The field crews got a lot more because their work took them so much longer. And they'd still be working when we weren't getting calls. So yeah, we didn't get quite as much overtime. It wasn't really needed.
Is there one particular incident that you remember more than anything else? One really dramatic, amazing, tragic, whatever? One particular incident?
I can't think of anyone specific other than the houses up off of, was that Lakeview? Off the freeway that were in danger of sliding down and hitting the freeway. I think that we remember more because it was on TV so much. Then the Magnolia Bridge problem, I think, would be second. A lot of the other ones, like Perkins Lane and some of the other places, they're chronic for slides, so we're not really too surprised when they do happen. But some of these others were quite unusual. Yes.
What about, now when this storm first started, you were working for engineering.
Right.
And then pretty soon you were working for C-Tran.
Right.
And how did that whole progression go for you?
It went kind of smooth. We just, once the change took place, we stopped doing drainage things. We give it all now to the SPU people. Our drainage and wastewater people are down at the end of the hall, so we referred all that stuff to them. If they were overwhelmed, we did assist, I believe. But they took care of all of that.
And what about the city as a whole? Can you talk about how the city worked as a team?
I think everybody pitched in and helped each other very well. In some cases more than we expected. Everybody was very cooperative, even the different departments like City Light and Water and Metro, Fire, Police, everybody chipped in and did what they could. It was very helpful.
Websites you view or services you order on the cable system or on the internet, the time that you actually use the services or view the programs and websites, and other information about your, quote, electronic browsing.
That's all very troubling to me. That's way too big brother for me, and I really want to try to stand in the way of that.
It's troubling for the ACLU, too. They say AT&T has been evasive about strengthening its privacy policies for the consumer.
Our basic view is that you should own information about yourself. That means if another party collects that information for one purpose, they shouldn't be able to share it with another party without your permission.
Some clearly will give the cable company permission to share their information.
I don't really care if someone knows what I'm looking at because I would tell anybody anyway.
If you could have tailors or commercials specifically tailored to what you like, I mean, would that be would you see that as a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I think that'd be a good thing, actually.
But many viewers won't.
I think it's horrible. I don't think that corporations should have all this information about you and who you are. I think they already have way too much information about people. I think that it's disgusting.
Even if things could be specifically tailored for your viewing habits?
Even if. I think it's just a bad idea.
Your privacy is taken away. You have no more privacy. I mean, maybe you get your commercials are gone that you don't want to watch and your favorite shows are on, but all your privacy is gone. Anybody can find anything out about you.
AT&T says they're not convinced yet they'll even use the new technology.
We're looking at really three things with this technology. One is
during the big winter storm of December 2006.
For a period of 7 days in mid-December of 2006, City Light crews worked around the clock to recover from one of the most damaging storms in recent history. Not since the Columbus Day storm of 1962 had the city witnessed such a windstorm.
The wind speeds that hit on the night of the 14th, 15th were all-time records at the SeaTac airport. And the gusts hit right at 69 miles an hour. And unlike other storms that we've had, one of the things that happened was whole trees were uprooted and knocked down.
Chris Heingartner is the Customer Service and Energy Delivery Officer for City Light. It's his people who face the hard physical job of dealing with those uprooted trees and getting people's power restored. In the early morning hours of Friday, December 15th, when the sun came up and the wind was still blowing, it was obvious to City Light crews that there was no time to waste. Information had been pouring into the System Control Center that 65 feeders, the lines carrying the power from substations to neighborhoods and business districts, were down. The electrical system status map on the internal website showed that half of Seattle and its suburbs were red, an indication of areas without electricity. What the crews first saw was the devastation the combination of high winds and rain-soaked soils had done to the system. Entire trees had brought down poles and lines, often many in the same area. The tough decision on where to start to restore power lay with Heimgartner and his crew.
The first thing is around public safety. And hospitals, nursing homes, there's critical care facilities that aren't really identified as hospitals, but they fulfill the same role. And then you've got to look at things that your fire and police departments are telling you about, that you've got hazards that are...
So coordination between the System Control Center and field crews must be in place. The field crews and the dispatcher at the control center make sure that lines are de-energized before work starts. Crews are made up of several skills, including equipment operators, material control specialists, line workers, and the crew chiefs who coordinate the effort on site.
It's all a lot more time consuming than a guy would, or a lot of people maybe in the public would think. You know, we have to coordinate with other groups, the people that bring the poles out, people that set the poles, and then us that come out and repair the lines and attach the wires to the poles.
Debris must be cleared. The broken trees add to the problems of clearing, since it usually takes chainsaws and heavy equipment to move the timber. Then down come the broken poles, which also must be moved by heavy lifting equipment. The new poles and cross arms must be assembled on site. This is more heavy work, some of it performed high above the ground in special buckets attached to hydraulic lifts. For just one pole, tons of debris has to be removed, and then the hardware is assembled and installed by City Light crews. This effort would be repeated dozens of times over the next week, as the electricity was restored across the service area. By Saturday evening, customers without power had dropped to 32,500 as feeders were restored. Much more work remained as the smaller branches of the electrical system called laterals also were badly damaged. Trees also had taken out the laterals, so customers on the same feeder might have power while their neighbor on the next block was still in the dark. As City Light Superintendent Jorge Carrasco surveyed the damage still remaining on the system Saturday and Sunday, it became obvious that restoring the final 5% of customers was going to drag on for many more days than initially thought. The lateral system in the southern part of the service area had been badly damaged.
That day, worked 18 hours the next day and just kept going on and on. I don't know how many pages and pages of slides I went and looked at. I finally called people in to help me go look at them, because I couldn't begin to keep up with them. I think the most incredible thing though was being the first one on the job, being there at the site, and the response I got from the citizens, and they were upset and didn't know what to do, didn't know who to call, and I tried to help them as best I could. I tried to assess it to see if they were blocked in, so I could actually get the road open to get police and fire in and out, because that was the most important thing to me, was have it accessible for police and fire, and of course and everybody, DCOU and DAS and everybody just got involved, and we all pulled together, and we seemed to make it work somehow. Even though it did seem like it wasn't going to work, it seemed to work. I mean, people around here just responded. Parks and Water, City Light all offered up their stuff. I don't know, it just kind of, it worked, and we all worked together and worked well.
How did the citizens respond to your response?
Most of the citizens were really nice. I got a few that really wanted their slides cleaned up right away, wanted their roads cleaned up, wanted personalized service, I would say, right up to their doorstep, and which I couldn't do. My main job was to get the road open, and then if they wanted to have somebody come in and clean up further than that, that was their responsibility at that time.
be going.
Of January was just thick. They want to, I don't know how many pages it is, but several $100, believe me, several hundreds.
I don't think we want to put that in. I think that's great.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Manny.
The big holiday blast.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we had all the slides and stuff.
Yeah, the December 26th through January 3rd.
Okay.
Is this going to keep going off over here?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. So when did you first get? Were you on at Christmas or the day after Christmas when the storm first hit?
I believe I was on Christmas Day, I think. It would have started with just drainage type calls. We didn't get slides immediately. It took a accumulation of rain in the ground to start moving things. But it was shortly after Christmas that the stuff started happening, a few days after, I believe. And we We get calls, we take down the locations, and they send inspectors out to check them to let the people know whether it's safe or not to stay or whether they should be evacuated. And they assess the damage caused and get an idea of what can be fixed and how long it might take. We did have to close some streets completely because they were so unsafe. But
Did you get more calls than usual?
a lot more than usual, yes. There were a lot of slides and a lot more drainage calls, plugged inlets, flooding, that kind of stuff. Sewers backing up. Yes.
Were you short on staff? Did you have to work extra long hours?
We did have to, some dispatchers had to stay over and assist the following shift, which was manned by just one person. So there was some overtime staying over.
Woodland Park Zoo works with other zoos worldwide to save wildlife through species survival programs. Working against time, some endangered species can be bred in captivity for possible release into the wild. But there's only so much room on the ark. Not all species can be bred in captivity, and the space available in zoos is limited. Through education programs, Woodland Park Zoo encourages the preservation of wild habitat, so zoos never become the final shelter for endangered species. Woodland Park Zoo, a place where people of all ages can escape the hectic pace of urban life and engage their senses in the beauty and variety of life in the wild.
I think I like my job primarily because there are so many rewards that just come from seeing the values of the zoo taking form in new exhibits, naturalistic exhibits, and in being so involved with the public.
Was to drive a jet vector, which is like a giant vacuum cleaner, and go and start vectoring up some of the water and try to get to the structures that were plugged off and open them up so that they could do their job. One in particular was down on South Bozeman Street. There's a house there that apparently the city had put in a couple of inlets and catch basins there several years ago, and for some reason they weren't working right, and I had the jet vector over there trying to vector up as much water as we could to keep it from going into the basement of this one house. And it was pouring down rain, and we just couldn't keep up with the amount of water, so we had to call and get a couple of pumps to come out there. And between the two pumps and the truck, we finally got the water down to a level where we could get to the inlet and then open it up so that it would, go back to working the way it was supposed to. Yeah, we'd switch to like a 12-hour shift during the day, and then most of us were working an additional 4 or 5 hours, after the end of our shift.
I came here to make it more beautiful. It's like nice enough, but make it nicer.
You were
Do you garden at home?
Sometimes. I learned how to garden from over here. Mr. Homie teach me how to garden over here. So sometimes I use some at home.
What was the most fun thing you've done since you've been working on this project?
It was the bark part.
Why? Still getting wind?
This is like a disaster. Every time I put my shoes on for you, it makes something wrong happen. Whatever, man. Okay, we're ready to go.
Sure. Okay. You're our test person here, so we'll wait till everybody kind of moves from behind here.
No, you took it the whole. Some over there. I done about little over there. I don't do that much. Kind of hard for me. I do most of the bark though.
Did you plant any vegetables or anything in the boxes?
Vegetables? I don't think so.
If you had to, do you want to, like, say you had a few minutes here to just tell somebody something about why they should do this, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to do it because just in case to save your money, you could plant your own fruits and stuff. But if you could come, you could get extra credit if you're in Mr. Homer's room and stuff. You know, just the good things.
Anything else you want to talk about? Hey, you're on camera now. You might as well take advantage of it.
That's all I can think of.
That's great.
Got better as the interview went on.
We'll give you a few minutes to think as you go up. Because sometimes after you turn the camera off, you
tell them how fun it is, and especially about the food and stuff. So we'll like grub on the stuff and shit.
Uh-oh, we might redo that one. So okay. We don't have to censor you.
Okay. And I'll also tell them that lots of people are like doing it, and it's a fun thing to do, and people should plant at their own houses and make their house, the surroundings of their house, more beautiful than they like are.
What do you think of this garden so far?
Now
that it's done.
I think the fountain's pretty.
Garden, and like you accidentally pull a stuff that looked like weed, but it wasn't, like flowers and something like that. And at my house, I got lots of weed, but sometimes my family's too lazy to do stuff, so like sometimes I do it by myself. But every time like I do something by myself, clean the yard and all that, then my family start coming out and help me. Because sometimes they're lazy and all they do in the house like just watch TV, read books and all that. But you know, I don't like to read books. But sometimes I go outside, I see the garden, like my yard's too dirty, like all messy, like all leaves and stuff. I'm too lazy, so I say, forget doing this. I'm gonna just go play. But sometimes my family come out and work, I'm gonna just work with them. And after that, my garden like look nice. But my dad bought lots of flowers. Like he told me to pull all these weeds. I said, this is a lot, and I want to do it by myself. That's why I need some help sometime. Or sometimes people gotta do other jobs.
It's fun when you have someone else to work with, though. Makes it go by faster.
And the fun stuff I like about the garden is you got pushing gravel. Sometimes you get to play around with gravel and all that. Or like you get more energy that way. Not like I wouldn't use all my power on gravels and all that. But I still want like, you know, real muscle that way. My house got like a family of 5 people. but sometimes my uncle come over from other place and like help us do stuff. But now he don't come anymore, but we don't work on our garden anymore, see. All I do is just mow the lawn, that's all. And cut those, pull the weed where the flower is.
Actually, we were getting around better than SPD was, so a lot of people, you know, the fire department was the only help they could get.
Any other exciting things going on? Did you witness any kind of amazing natural disaster type things?
No, I'd say the floods that we had with the heavy rains and the mudslides and stuff, that was probably more exciting than the snow, actually. But,
in what way?
Well, it was probably caused more damage, more property damage, and I don't know.
How would you typify the city's response to the storm? What kind of grade would you give the city?
An A+. Fire department gets an A+. I don't know about the other departments. I mean, everybody had a tough time with all the snow, and I think it made us realize areas that, you know, we need to improve on to be able to respond better. So.
And what about the rest of the city departments? Did you see what did you see in the way of teamwork or cooperation as a city as a whole?
Well, within,
you know, we couldn't get out, and when we did, everybody else was stuck as well as we were. The few times we did come in contact with City Light and the police and stuff, they were great, great help. But you know, like I said, they were really busy with their own stuff too, and so.
Were people called upon to do jobs that they wouldn't ordinarily be doing?
Oh heck yeah! Ironically, you know, you say aside from shoveling snow, we work on the city had during that time on at least 2 of the days broke its record for total call volume, and ironically a lot of it was non-emergency calls and stuff like that, which was unfortunate. I mean, we were delayed as much as we were getting to the real emergencies, and then to have to go to a lot of non-emergency calls to help people shovel their walks and stuff. And while we like to do that stuff when we can, it was kind of awkward during the snowstorm. It seemed like there were a lot more of the what we expect for that kind of weather, the falls, the slips, slides, stuff like that and stuff. So
What's the one most vivid picture that, just with word association kind of, you know, when someone says the holiday storm, what's the one picture, most vivid picture that comes to your mind?
Opening the doors of